Part 15. Selling the Smile. One of the great evangelists of selling on sold that to win, what we have to do is sell the slice, not the slang. Well, that's exactly what you have to do in selling cars. After all, most of my customers have already owned a car and maybe even a Cavalier, and they certainly have seen a lot of cars in their lives. There must be more than 100 million of them on the streets, so a calibered all by itself is no big deal to them. What is a big deal is a shiny new one that will feel good to toss, to sell in and to earn. And the thing about a new car that runs no more people than anything else, it's a smile. Have you ever noticed the smile of your brand new car? If you are well billfolded, you are still be able to tell what it was if someone put in your new car. Touching the car and seeing it make some people droll on it, but nothing turns people on like the smile. So I always want to make every customer smile. It I don't say let, I said make. A lot of people incur effort to get into a new car at the first, and they are very reluctant to drive it. That's because they are afraid they will feel unrooted somehow, which is why I say push them into if you have to, because you want them to feel ungated, like they have broken the steel or unplugged it, so they have to buy it. Once they get and smile, they want it. That is such of the respect you would think that every salesman which is ever sold even on a car would know it. But it's always subject of sales training meeting because a lot of salesmen don't think it's worth air travel. Why, brother? The mass knows what it's like. All he wants is the right place. Remember, the small that sold you. Anybody who says that does not know his own feeling, but I never forget things in my life that extend to me the first time. I remember the first time I ever had my hands on a new power drill. I was not mean a kind of down the block got it for Christmas, but I was there when the unwanted it. A new black a doctor, and I took from it plugged into the certain stuff drilling holes in everything. And I remember the first new car I wished in. I was already grouped up, and the only cars I had ever been were old ones where is a horseless string sure. But one of the guys in the neighborhood got after the where I was in it the first day, and I will never forget that smile. When you are selling other thing, it may be not quite the smile. You sell a man a life insurance policy, and there's nothing you can let him smile or try. But anything that moves or feels, you got to know him, have some. Who while to try to sell a famous word without getting him to stroke it fast. So be sure that you put him in the car. I always do. It makes him lost on it, and even I lost the sale. I have the shot at getting him back once he got to back the sell him once again. And when I put a man in a new car, I don't say anything to him. I just him drive it. You will hear from the show called experts that this in the time to sell him the future of your product. But I don't believe it. I find the loss I tell, the more he smiles and feels, and starts to tell. And I went to him to small the feel of her talk because I went to her would he like, and he went super award. I want him to help my query him by telling the words of work something about his family and where he lives. A lot of times a customer will tell you everything you need to sell him and get another credit approved just where you're sitting in the passenger seat, and that's a must little him drive it. People like to try things out, to touch them, to play with them. Remember the shark amber displays that hint in the gas stations where you can hold pull a handle with a on stock and then pull handle with a new slab. Well, I'm sure most of you have at once the time tired working them. We are curious, no matter what you sell, look the always in ways you can disseminate your product. The improve things that share perspective, particles and dimensions if you feel their scenes and they also appealing on their emotions. I don't say more things are birds through emotions that's through logic. Honestly behind the level, chances are he is going to ask you where his soul to go. I always tell him to go wherever he wants to go. If he leaves the neighborhood, I may suggest that he drive by the house. Then he cannot survive and can't see it. Some neighborhood may be out of the pros. I want him to let everybody see him behind the wheel the new car. Because I want to him to feel like his bird anew and the showing of it off. That helps look up the instrument because he need not want to come him tell everybody he could not make a good deal. I don't want to hook a customer to toss just a little. I don't want the customer to take the car too far because my time is worth a lot of money. But a person telling the directions drive will tend to think it's a far when it really is not. So let him drive and mask his likes because here's the things he has gone a little too that also help to make him feel obligated to me, getting him hooked. When I think about hooking the customer and making him feel obligated, I don't mean to say I am doing anything bad to the person. There is never a point in the selling station, even after he is saying in the order, when he cannot say no and back out. So he is not a equal terms with me, but it's a feel that I have a perfect right to assume that if somebody comes into my place or business see me, he is their business, he interested in buying a car from me. And it's my duty to him as is always in myself to help clear up his doubts and facts and buy a car. When I think about small, I really mean it, but it stands for a lot of things. Breeders small insult to me. The small is a new car stands the examinate of the experience. I suppose there are the people those days who don't get the trail of when they buy a new car. Maybe they have had so many it doesn't matter to them anymore. But for most people, me included, buying something new, even as unmodern and buying a new shirt, is exciting. I went to take it home and put it on a show of it. And there is handy anything to compare to the next experiment of a new car. For a lot of people, it's almost like having a baby. They particularly went to hand out and shares and send announcements. It's all part when you call the small. The selling you should almost say sells the car is itself almost, but not really, because the loud salesmen don't understand it, so then don't use it. You have to use and get the work for you. You don't just let it happen. You don't just let anything happen. If you are a real pro, make it all happen. You make sure the customer has his opportunity to sell and fill the experiment his thread of all. I want to add on final word on the value of selling. the smile. In the years just after World War, iron cars were seen and a lot of potential cars buyers had too little solid model used cars. At that time, a product some who want to market that was bought by a lot used of car dealers. That perfect was a liquid that the dealers sprayed in the tank and on the floors of lead. Model used car the reason it made them smell like a new cars. But if you know the value of that smile because you certainly remember the first time it had your nose. So never forget them. Look back into your own experience as a customer, whatever you are selling somebody else. Because we all share a lot of experience and if that smile turned you on, you can beat it just well turned on almost everybody. Whatever you sell, those is equipment of the small a new car. Think of yourself as a customer. Think what excites you about a product or used to when you first bought it. Then use that experience to sell the excitement, the thrill of winning your product. Thanks for listening.